he was part of. Now that he is dead, they need to find a replacement for his role. And here we meet an alpaca named Els, who is afraid of a wolf in her class, who she thinks might make her the next prey of a predator. She then meets face to face with the wolf, who is the main character of the title. His name is Legoshi. Turns out the Legoshi didn't want to kill her, but just wanted to give her a letter from the subject. They were close friends, and the wolf knew that Tam loved Els very much, so he passed the letter on to the friend's memory. After the Legoshi expresses disappointment that he is always afraid and leaves, the next day we see a wolf and a deer named Louis. Louis is the lead actor in the upcoming play, and he's basically the leader of everything on campus. He has a mission for the Legoshis, so they're going to talk. Elsewhere in school, we meet a white dwarf rabbit named Haru, who is bullied by his classmates because a lot of guys like her. They throw her books and mattresses out of the dorm, and she has to eat alone because she has no friends. She is then bullied by a Mizuchi girl and dumped on a small bucket of water. Meanwhile, Louis tries to assign Vegas instead of a theme, but a mongoose breaks into the room and demands that the deer choose it. A fight almost breaks out, but the wolf manages to stop her, after which everyone calms down. Louis instructs the Legoshis to be observers while they sneak into the theater to practice. However, during observation, the Legoshi picks up the scent of the Haru, and his predatory instincts work, bringing us back to that scene with a hug at the beginning. Legoshi is stuck in some sort of inner struggle with his predatory instincts. He almost gives in to his instincts, but a goat named Zo takes him out of the state by calling him. Haru breaks out, runs away. Before the Legoshi can do anything to protect it, Zo shows him a Louis who broke his leg to save a goat from falling off the stage. The next day, a fight breaks out in the cafeteria, which awakens the Legoshi's instincts again, and he snaps at them, causing them to fight the wolf. This stops Louis, and we learn that he claims the name Beastar, a title created for the school's hero, the best of the best. We see Louis struggling to continue the show, but his leg injury is getting worse by the minute. Legoshi sends for flowers for a play where he encounters a Haru and realizes that he accidentally wounded her during his act of predatory instinct. He asks her about it, but she says she doesn't remember what happened. Red helps her with the housework, and she wants to repay his kindness, but he doesn't know what to say because he just wants to keep talking to her. And the rabbit does not accept his silence by deciding that he wants to sleep with her, so she undresses. Haru starts to take off his legends, but he runs away in a panic. Now he knows about her bad reputation, but he continues to think the rabbit is good. Legoshi talks to Kai and learns that almost everyone in the drama club has some sort of fetishist secret in their past, making them think, as was the past of Louis. Meanwhile, the injury to the leg and deer continues to deteriorate, and the Legoshi enters to ask him some questions about the lighting of the play. Louis is very angry at the Legoshi for trying to behave innocently, despite the fact that he is a wolf very strong. The deer feels offended by this because, as a deer, it has almost no physical strength. This makes the Legoshis think that he is more than a simple wolf, and that he has developed feelings for Harp. The episode ends with Louis struggling with the pain to give a fantastic performance during the performance. But when the curtain closes, he faints. Even though Louis had a broken leg, the audience never knew, as the curtain had closed earlier. However, the deer will not be able to participate in the second performance tomorrow, and they need to find a replacement soon. The Bengal tiger Bill was chosen to replace the Louis, and Legoshi was commissioned to play the role of Bill as a minor villain. Right before the performance, the wolf smells a Bill, and the tiger admits to taking a small dose of rabbit's blood before performing as some kind of energy. It pisses off the Legoshis they fight. The play is much worse than when Louis was on stage, and the Legoshi is losing it. He punches Bill in the face, and in return he tears his back. But the audience does not understand that this was not part of the play. Louis stops them and makes remarks, especially for taking rabbit blood. But in doing so, they keep pretending that it was planned so that no one gets in trouble. There is a friend of the Legoshi named Jack, a Labrador retriever, who realizes that the wolf did not actually play and actually fought the Bill. He also noted that the Legoshis may be in love, and his friend's nervousness confirms Jack's suspicions. While the Legoshi are madly in love with Haru, she sleeps with Louis. A month later, the team prepares for a mid-year festival. The team discuss a candlelight ceremony where couples who light candles together will have a long and healthy relationship. Meanwhile, the Haru is still being constantly bullied by the Mizuti, but the Legoshi intervenes and puts an end to it. Later, they dine together. He tries to ask her name, and she struggles with her inner instincts that tell her to stay away from him. Later, they go together to the hostel, and it is here that they first meet in sight. A few days later, another herbivore was killed and reported in the news, increasing the rift between the students. Legoshi, wandering the corridors, stumbles upon a first-year female wolf named Juna, who is bullied by several boys because of her carnivorous origin. Legoshi stops it and learns that the jungle has just joined the drama club. The members go to discuss the details of the festival with the city, and Lewis warns them to stay away from the black market. The guys come into town, they meet up at City Hall, and then they talk about dating and kissing girls. The boys press Legoshi to speak from the jungle, as she is new and is probably looking for friends. On the way back, the group gets lost and goes black market. Bill wants to pamper himself and eat the fingers of a goat, and the Legoshi only hates him by running away. He thinks of Haru when he runs, how he feels about her, but in spite of that, he fears that his predatory instincts could harm the Haru's life. The stress causes him to lose consciousness and wake up finding himself chained in the basement. A panda doctor named Go-Hin is actually a good guy, telling the hero that his attraction to Harp may be a manifestation of his carnivorous desire to devour her. On the way back, the Legoshi encounters an Alba that has also not eaten on the black market and managed to get out of there. We learn a little about how Lewis met Haru. When Haru first encountered him, the deer dropped its antlers, and while the girl was processing his wounds, they began doing so. But Lewis must continue his line. His family had already found and prepared a bride for him, but Haru knew and did not object. After another cupcake, Lewis is confronted by a Legoshi who is looking for a Haru. Arin tells him that she is not there and tells him to go talk to the jungle. The Legoshi and the Juna begin to speak and practice their choreography. The wolf comes to realize that she has a sense for the Legoshi. She asks him if he feels the same, but he can be said to reject her. While working on the festival, Haru goes to the Legoshi and asks for his help, as she is the only one in the garden club, but he refuses, wanting to keep a safe distance. However, he sees Lewis Haru communicating, which makes him so jealous that he realizes that he is actually in love with her rather than just craving for her, because of his predatory instincts. The Haru and Legoshi are the last students to leave the festival. They talk about how Haru tried to seduce him when they first met and quarrel. She says she can't figure out how she feels and she's trying to leave, and the wolf is trying to stop her. But passers-by thinks it's harassment, so they run off together. Haru admits to remembering her attack that night, but still does not know it was a Legoshi. He is considering telling her the truth, but does not, fearing that she will stop talking to him. Everyone leaves, and Lewis agrees to help the Jun rehearse a little. She lashes out at him, saying that she wants to become a demon old, and also that she wants to make a Legoshi her boyfriend. But nothing comes of it, and she just keeps hitting on the Legoshis, but he won't respond to her feelings. There's a sudden blackout, and the Legoshi is trying to find a hole to keep her safe. He follows her scent. She hugs him when she sees, mistaking him for a Louis. The light turns on and the jungle sees them together, realizing that the Legoshi have feelings for the Haru. We are told about the past of the Lewis, which he keeps secret. As a child, it was used as black market food, but was rescued by the leader, a conglomerate of enemies named Oguma. He has set the little deer a goal of changing the world, and he takes it very seriously, and he wants to get old. Lewis is attacked by a leopard, but the Legoshi prevents the attack, so that Lewis does not even know about it. Leopard says in Legos that with the advent of the herbivorous Beastar, the carnivores will lose their influence, which has led many of them to want to kill the deer, and the Legos decide that they will protect him from everyone. He later decides to meet Haru at the festival to tell her how he feels, but only finds her shoe. It turns out that the criminals are Shigumi, a den of lions who kidnapped her to feed her boss. Haru for them is a kind of delicacy. The mayor's not gonna do anything because it's a waste of time. The lion bribes Lewis by saying that it will hit the records of his past if he keeps quiet about it. The Legoshi asks Lewis to help find the Haru, but the deer refuses and a fight occurs between them. Legoshi goes alone to the black market to find Haru. He is attacked, but the wolf is rescued by the Go-Hen. In the Legoshi, he finds the lair of lions and fights with one of his minions. He almost gets killed, but Gin interferes and shoots the lion with his crossbow. They're breaking through security. Meanwhile, we are told that in the past, Haru always felt like a little helpless animal who could easily die. The only time she felt strong in her life was when she was sleeping with guys. Here she realizes that the only person who didn't make her feel that way was the Legoshi, who decided to protect her even when he didn't want to sleep with her. The rabbit is about to be eaten, but the Legoshi's are rushing through the door to save her. He takes his dark side for the first time, defeating the lion, but it almost becomes his death as he leaves the enemy alive and almost shoots him in the back. However, Lewis intervenes and saves him by shooting his boss for what he did. Haru and the Legoshi's are late for the bus, so they find a hotel to stay overnight. It turns out to be a love hotel. The wolf confesses everything to her, and the rabbit tells him that she guessed that he attacked her. Their feelings get heated, their instincts prevent her from sleeping with him. The rabbit says it can't make him hold back, and they can do it anyway. But it seems strange to the wolf, so he refuses. These two return to school, and the competition between the Haru and the Jumble begins. At the same time, Lewis is missing. Juna tries to convince the Legoshi to burn the candle with her, but he refuses and runs away with Sugar. They talk about instincts and desires, and the Legoshi says he needs to get stronger to control them. Haru agrees and says she will wait. Thank you all for watching, and if you liked my rewrite, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like this video.